What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Motorman Day, and today we're talking about the Broadsword. It's a physical melee weapon with secondary lightning attack that damages targets in a line in front of the player. It's pretty basic, pretty straightforward, so let's go. You got to kill 300 enemies in order to complete the unique upgrades. Level upgrades are increased secondary damage 3 times. The unique upgrades are primary attack heals on hit or adds additional bolt to secondary. Now, what do I personally run? Usually the primary attack heals on hit. It's nice to have a heal if you're not running some other kind of heal. But usually I'm not. So, whenever I run Broadsword, you know, or Blade Staff, I may skip like the health trinket and get like the, if I'm going to go melee build, I'll skip the health trinket, I'll get the reptilian carapace, I'll run the Broadsword or the Blade Staff so that way I have some form of healing if I need it, or feel like I need it. That's what I would do. Adding an additional bolt may not help you in every situation. It could, but it doesn't always. So for that one, I would say it's up to you, but we'll take a look at the secondary bolt and just kind of see, is it really that good? Is it not that good? You know, if enemies are in a line and you're having a hard time killing them anyways, then maybe yeah, but for the most part, I think it's just much more reliable to stick with the primary attack heals on hit because you're going to be primarily attacking, you know. Your secondary uses mana. There's other things that can use mana instead of this, and if you want to run something else with crowd control, for example, whether it be the Blade Staff secondary or like a Stone Staff or the Ice Amulet or the Wind Belt. I mean, there's other crowd controls maybe a little bit better than the damage, especially because this damage for the secondary doesn't always hit everything. It's got relatively small area of effect, and it looks cool. It looks cool for sure. Now the Broadsword is what the Knight uses, or the Knight, yeah, the war scenario Knight uses the Broadsword as well. So this came out with the Knight whenever it came out on the Jurassic Steps DLC, which used to be a DLC but is now included in the base game. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump into that game file. So the first thing we have to bring up is the primary attack rate is 1 time per second. Amount healed on damage, if you get the healing, it's 20. There's a flinch chance. So with melee weapons, there's this thing called flinch where the enemy stutters. They kind of do this like they're going to attack, but they don't. It works pretty well on trolls. However, with this attack rate, it's really not that good for doing that. If you want to do that, get the Elven Short Swords or get the Broadsword. Not the Broadsword, I'm sorry, the Blade Staff. It's a little bit better for that, but that's what the flinch is. Secondary distance between bolts is 325. We're going to take a look at that. I have it written out on the wiki. With its comparison in the measurement of the square or the grid square. Then we have secondary time between bolts is 0.3, it's 0.3 seconds, and the secondary damage radius is 1.75. So essentially it's hitting everything within that line, but it's a radius, so it's going to be a circle, right? So the bolt has a circle around it, and then at the end of that circle it starts the other circle for the bolt, for the next bolt. If you get what I mean. You know, let me see if I can draw you a picture here with my beautiful paint skills. So we got a circle over here, and let's say that the center is, well, that's not the center, but pretend that's the center. That's the bolt, right? And then can I draw? How do I draw a circle this way? Sure. Not quite. Like that. Well, almost. That's a Venn diagram, in case you didn't know. Here we go. So it's like this, essentially. I mean, it's not exact, but essentially it's like this. So anything that's walking, you know, around this other area in the red won't get hit, but everything within this area will get hit. So that's basically what you're looking at. Whatever you're looking at the radius for the thing. Okay. All right. For the secondary, I mean. Okay, but the secondary is lightning damage. The primary is physical damage. Primary damage is 50. Secondary damage is 50. Secondary mana cost is 40. Primary jib chance is 0.75.6, but that doesn't really matter. Okay, let's jump on into the weapon Protos. Now, the weapon Protos is really quite simple. The only thing you have is that it costs 6 skulls. It doesn't give you the cooldown for the secondary because you can spam it. You can literally like spam it with the right mouse button. And we'll take a look at that whenever we take a look at it in game. But yeah, that's it. It just costs 6 skulls. So that's the only thing special on the weapon Protos. Now let's move on to the upgrade Protos. We have increased secondary damage by 5. Increase it again by 5. Increase it again by 5. another 5. So that's 15 total increased damage. And then we have primary attacks heal on hit, which becomes true. And like we saw in the Broadsword attributes, that is a 20. It's a value of 20. And then we have additional bolt to secondary, which becomes true. So secondary extra bolt. Okay. Now, if we open up the wiki, what we'll see here, if you go to the Broadsword, underneath the Broadsword here, well, first of all, I have like whatever it is, you know, plus 5 damage to 55, 60, 65, so it does 65 damage. A light orc on War Mage, you know, it doesn't have a shield. It does have 50 HP, so it's going to one-shot light orcs. Okay, secondary status effect. Now, if you read this is going to tell you kind of if you want to draw this out or whatever on like a grid, you can lightning strikes each 0.3 seconds apart with a damage radius of 1.16 squares and a distance from each other by 2.16. Okay, so that's the lightning strike thing. All right, let's go ahead and jump into a game and take a look at what it looks like. All right, here we have the broadsword. Here's the stance that we have with it. It's lightning is all around it. As you can see, the damage that we have, the heal that we have, the heal's actually not too bad. So let's not do a slam with it because we died. There's the respawn animation. That's cool. It's also the same animation you have whenever you switch from weapons to another weapon and back to the broadsword, as if you're picking it up for the first time. But here's the secondary damage. I think it would be really cool is if you were out of mana and you couldn't use the secondary, that the lightning would go away. That'd be pretty cool. But you know, you can see I'm hitting stuff in the back here, which is pretty dope. And then you know, you got a pretty wide arc on it. Arch, whatever. Ow. Damn it. Okay, well, anyways, it's not the end-all be-all, but it is a pretty fun weapon and really not too bad. You just got to make sure you're not too close. If you're too close to an enemy, your secondary is going to miss. So just make sure that's not the case. But yeah, you see, I just hit like 3 or 4 orcs there, and then the explosion that they do whenever they get hit by, whenever they die, they do like a little bit of area of explosion damage. A little bit of like, I don't want to say chain lightning, but a little bit of area of explosion there whenever they die, which is pretty cool. So... yeah, I mean, it can kind of combo with itself. Maybe not as good as like actual crowd control, but it's pretty good. So there you go. All right. As always, guys, if you enjoyed, if you learned something new, if you have a use that you use it on, or if you like it or you don't like it, or whatever the case is, comment down below. If I've forgotten anything, I'll comment down below. I'll pin the message if I forgot anything, or if you know something that I don't about the broadsword, because I really don't use it that much, let me know in the comments below. And if you're looking for answers or whatever, read them. Read the comments. All right, guys, as always, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, follow, and YouTube, Twitch. I'll see you on the flip side. Deuces.